Okay.
So I thought we'd just do that verbally.
Sure.
I don't need you to do it, or I'm gonna get up and do the shine on part, so.
Okay.
Yes, that's at the very end. Whoever needs to see that. You got everything. Hey, what happened to the binder that was up here?
Oh,
In
really?
here?
Wow. Part of our concert thing?
People have been using their computers. Yeah, that's what I don't like.
Ah. Yes.
I miss being able to hide behind the pulpit. I'm not gonna lie. It's, you're too naked up here.
Oh, nice.
Oh, there it is. I don't understand why, I thought we could just access Google Drive with our existing email addresses. You're not gonna what? Yeah. It's getting so big. Yeah, I was gonna ask him, but I thought, no, Deanna, focus on the service tomorrow. We'll talk to him on Monday. I'm gonna go home from here after our talk back and go to sleep. Because I woke up at 4 this morning. Hello! I went to bed at midnight and got up at 4. Crazy. It was, wasn't it? I mean, I think I felt a little.
I didn't realize all the schools in Florida have this whole week off. Yes. I know, the whole week. I don't get it. I did some substitute teaching here in the Florida schools. Oof. Not like very different than my experience in New York and Iowa and New Jersey. And the pay is so low. I can tell why. I can see why people wouldn't want to go into teaching in Florida. Yep. Or whatever they needed me to teach.
Phone is here. Hey. Thank you.
So are you retired now? Oh. I hear, yeah. Ooh. Yep.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Oh, I will.
Whoosh. I had no idea this shirt was so hot. Good gravy. Ba, 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 ba.
should be the same no matter what.
It's been so long since I
Yeah,
was in any kind of position where I needed to know this stuff.
yeah.
I've really
My wife,
streamlined.
yeah, my wife is a PowerPoint guru. She can make it sing and dance. And look at, I know as little about it as possible.
Embedded videos and
Oh yeah, she's real good at that. Yeah, she could fix our embedded video problem like that, but then someone would have to remember how she did it.
write it down so it can be passed on.
Did you just say dollars to donuts?
We did that at our old church. We made a complete user manual for the AV system. There, they were using multiple cameras, and we used a thing called a black magic switcher to switch between the cameras. You could also switch between audio sources with it without having to touch the board. So that was nice.
I just realized that we can tell how many people are viewing on
Oh yeah.
YouTube, and that's me and Leah.
Great. Well, hopefully that number will tick up. But yeah, that's one of the problems too when you first start something new and you have technical problems. Sometimes people like come in and they like can't hear or something's wrong, and they go away for a couple of weeks, and then they come back and check on you again. And last week I was cracking up. There was just so many things going awry. You know, in seminary they taught Susan that just resign yourself to the fact that on Sunday mornings at least three things will go wrong. If you're lucky, it'll all happen before the service starts. And I was actually sitting out there counting. Okay, that's two. I guess. Yo, that was from the bread
Yes.
communion thing.
We had bread communion.
I don't even know where it goes. Slide view?
Is she mentioned that you can do it while I'm reading it, but let me show it to you. You tell me what you think. Well, Yes, indeed.
Sing it twice, around twice.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'll come in at the first line. May your life be as a song. May your life. You got it. That must be Steve's brother. He
I
looks
can't
like
wait for Jim to be here in January.
Jim Scott.
Yeah.
Is he the one who wrote that?
Yes.
How cool. How did we get him?
He does Unitarian churches all the time, and he contacted us, I think. He does that when he's going to be in an area, and he'll contact other churches.
That's great.
I've known him since the first or fourth GA back in the, I guess, no,
No, even
the
before
one
that.
before that, yeah. It was the late, it was either the late 90s or, no. Let's see, Susan and I got married in 88, 90, in 90 we went over earlier seminary, so it was somewhere in the mid-90s. We walked up to the back of the big auditorium, and he was standing there, and he looked at us and said, "Should I be insulted or complimented that you're singing my song without asking me?" I said, "Jim, anytime someone's playing your music,
It's a good thing. It's a compliment. I like to find as much as possible.
What do you think?
I've been learning about myself as I watch recordings. I tend to sit there and jiggle my foot. No,
You gonna gather everybody together?
you know, those kinds of little things.
he's supposed to start it." Oh, well, he just says,
Yeah.
he checks in with the Zoom host and stuff, and so.
Oh, that happens before. Andy, you want to kick us off?
All right.
All right.
We're almost ready to go. Glad to see everybody here. Those of you on YouTube, good morning. We're going to begin our service with a morning sing. Our songs this morning are ones you may know, so please join in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. May your life be as a song. And we'll end with Oh Let Us Gather, with words and music by Reverend Amy Carroll Webb.
That's great. And remember, everybody, the general rule: if you can't sing well, sing loud.
Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your heart, everyone. Open your heart, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Enter, rejoice.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
And from our wonderful friend Jim Scott, who will be here in January, I believe. May your life be as a song.
May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the night, and softly serenade the stars, singing dancing circles in the night. circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the night and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night.
Circles in the night.
Oh, let us gather at that river. Let us gather son by one. Let us gather at that river. Let us gather one by one. Oh, let us gather at that river. Let us gather one by one. Let us gather at this river. Let us gather one by one. One more time. Oh, let us gather at this river. Let us gather one by one. Oh, let us gather at this river. Let us gather one by one.
Good morning again, and welcome to the beloved community at Rivergrass Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I'm Andy Bunce. My pronouns are he and him. I serve this congregation as a secretary of the Board of Trustees, as worship host, and an active member of the Justice Seekers and the men's group. Alessandra Diaz is our chalice lighter this morning, and our worship leader is our president, Liana Bresnahan, and also our membership chair. We especially want to welcome you and welcome our visitors, and hope you'll stay for coffee after the service so we can get to know you. If you haven't already, please stop by the welcome table or as you come in the door and let us know how we can stay in touch with you. We open our doors wide and our hearts to you as you are, as we come together on this journey of transformation for ourselves and our world. May our sacred time together today be one of caring, courage, transformation, and a call to action.
Grateful for each hand we hold, gathered round this table. From far and near we travel home, blessed that we are able. Grateful for this sheltered place, with light in every window. Say, welcome, welcome, share this feast. Come in away from sorrow. Guardian, parent, darling child, neighbor, friend, and friendless, all together, everyone. It's a gift of loving kindness. Great a life worth living. Guardian, parent, darling child, neighbor, friend, and friendless, all together, everyone, grateful days be endless. Grateful for each hand we hold.
In this congregation, we have a mission. If you know it, you can say it along with me. To nurture our spirits, to love intentionally, and to create a just and healthy planet. What we share here is not an unchanging dogma, but an affirmation that we are called to be agents of love and justice, and to build a world where everyone is cherished for who they are. River of Grass is a progressive home for seekers of truth boldly told, love freely given, hope never failing, answering the call for peace and justice for all living things and the earth. Our congregation was intentionally named to lift up this place in which we reside, the life-giving Florida Everglades, ancestral lands of the Tequesta and Calusa people whose memory we honor today. The Miccosukee tribe of Indians of Florida and the Seminole tribe of Florida are the present-day stewards of these ancestral lands. May we strive to live by their example of living in community with the land and her people. And now, let us pause and breathe together as we enter in this time, connecting with one another, with the holy by any name, and the light of love within us all.
Our call to worship this morning is called Languages of Gratitude by Reverend Michelle Collins. We arrive carrying the familiar ache of not enough time, not enough rest, not enough certainty about what comes next. But here, in the space between one breath and another, something small and persistent whispers, "You are held." We come from days that felt too ordinary to notice, commutes and meetings, dishes and deadlines, the unremarkable hours that make up most of living. But buried in the mundane lie small miracles we walk past without seeing. Some of us learn to count blessings on our fingers. Others whisper thanks to ancestors or earth or sky. We carry different languages of gratitude, different ways of recognizing what sustains us, and all of them are welcome here. And our opening hymn this morning, For All That Is Our Life, it's a beloved song, a song of gratitude. Please rise in body or spirit to join in singing.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good.
chalice is the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition, a beacon of religious liberty shining through generations, now ours to hold high. As we light our chalice together this morning, let us join our voices with these words by the Reverend Michelle Collins.
We come to the sacred space, this hallowed hour, we made sacred by our presence and intention here. We come with deep gratitude for everyday blessings, for the dependable changing of the seasons as they follow one another, for smiles and waves and spoken greetings, for being with others in worship, for babies and puppies and kittens, and for the wisdom of the old. Everyday blessings that sustain us every day.
In the light of love, let us renew our covenant as we say together, love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta congregación y el servicio su ley principal. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad a través del amor y ayudarnos mutuamente. Our wisdom story this morning is entitled Giving Thanks, and it'll be told by Diane Lade.
Apologies, I should have adjusted this when I first got here. Good. Okay. Feel this is like the mama bear chair. All right, good morning to you all. My name is Diane Lade, since there are two Dianes here. I am a proud faith development teacher, among many other things that I do for our wonderful congregation. So, we know what is right around the corner. Thanksgiving is almost here. So all of you down here, what are you thankful for? Allie, yes. Thankful for food. Wonderful. And your family. Xander, do you have anything you want to? Thankful for your sister. Yeah. Our relatives and people who we love and are close with us. Do you have any thoughts, Katie? Recovering from sickness and disease? Injuries, I'm sorry. It's good. Oh, and today is your friend, so you're probably thankful for your friend. Anyone else want to add anything? Sheila? Thankful for your beloved community, and we are thankful for you. And did you want to say something, Jane? These are wonderful words that warm my heart, and I am thankful for all of you and for sharing. But sometimes we have so much. There's so much abundance in our life. But sometimes we kind of overlook something that's very special for us. And it's our amazing world that is all around us all the time. The amazing, beautiful clouds we have in Florida, the plants and birds and animals that thrive everywhere, even in our downtowns, even in our cities, they are there living along with us. The beautiful water that surrounds us all. So many things to be thankful for that we see every day. Today in Sunday school, we're going to be talking about harvest festivals of the first peoples, the indigenous peoples that lived in our country, and in some cases still live here. And of course, one of those harvest festivals turned into what we now call Thanksgiving. And we're going to be exploring the true roots of that story today. But the first peoples, they understood very well the connection with nature and that their world was one of interdependence with all creatures and all things. And they regularly gave thanks to their Creator for everything they saw around them. So we're going to be reading a book today called Giving Thanks. And it's about that very subject, and it's going to be about a walk with a father and son, people in present day, and something that the father teaches his son on this walk. So before we get started with this story, I really invite you, because it's set in autumn, and you'll see the beautiful, beautiful pictures by Gregory Manchus. And it brought back so many memories of me of beautiful autumns. And I guess all of you have at some point experienced a little bit of autumn somewhere. So I invite you just to sit quietly for a couple of seconds and imagine yourself taking a walk. And those beautiful leaves are everywhere. And the whole world smells like earth when autumn comes. That beautiful smell, and the leaves crunch under your feet. You know, all of nature is getting ready for winter, but it's still so glorious in that moment. So take a second and think of that, and then we will get started with Giving Thanks by Jonathan London. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Father Sky. Thank you for this day. This is what my father says every morning, standing in the field near our house. Like his Indian friends, singers and storytellers, Dad believes that things in nature are a gift. And in return, we must give something back. We must give thanks. And here you can see father and son start off on a walk. Maybe it's late afternoon and they're smelling all those beautiful smells. My dad gives thanks to the frogs and the crickets singing down by the creek, to all the tiny beings with 6 or 8 legs, weaving their tiny stories close to the earth. He says, thank you to the chanterelles, those wild mushrooms that smell like pumpkins. He says, thank you to the trees that wave their arms and spin their leaves in the breeze. He says, thank you, fox, at a glimpse in the tall grass, the pointy ears, the bushy tail, dancing. He says, thank you to the deer who have passed this way, their tracks like 2 fingers pressed in the dirt, pointing to the water. He gives thanks to the quail who flare up and scatter and then rejoin. He says, thank you, jackrabbit, as it zigs and zags and jumps and leaps 25 feet through the air, racing a shadow. He says, thank you, grandfather's sun, as it begins to sink beyond the hills. Thank you for this day. And he says, thank you, Grandmother Moon, for coming this way. To me, it's a little embarrassing to say thanks to trees and things, but Dad says it becomes a habit, and it makes you feel good. So I try it out. Thank you, stars, I say as we near home, and the stars come out one by one as if from hiding. And I say thank you for this beautiful book that brought back so many wonderful autumn memories to me, and I hope it did for you too.
We love you and bless you and send you on your way. We love you and bless you today and every day.
We sustain and strengthen this beloved community and its work in our world through the gifts of our time, our skills, our love, and our money. Each Sunday, 50% of our undesignated offerings go to LifeNet for Families, which provides meals, clothing, and support for those in need here in Broward County. The remainder supports our mission and ministries at River of Grass. You may also scan the QR code or text the number on the screen to donate. You can also find several other ways to give on the donate page on our website at riverofgrassuu.org.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which even from our birth over and around us lies. Hallelujah, hallelujah, source of all to you we raise. Hallelujah, hallelujah, this our song of grateful praise.
Thank you for these generous gifts. Our deepening music this morning is hymn 95, There Is More Love Somewhere. Please rise in body or in spirit as we sing together.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep
In our community each week, we share pieces of our lives. We take a moment to share our joys, our sorrows, and our gratitudes here with people who love us for exactly who we are, where we are right now. Here in this room, we'll share from the book, which is kept over by the candles, and you can always add to it before the service. If you're joining us online and would like to share a thought, a prayer, a joy, or a concern with us in this moment, write it in the chat, and we will lift them up together. A candle of memory is lit for Kenneth Monroe, gone too soon, a brother from another mother. Bennett Lorman. Happy birthday, Maite. Hope your day is as special as you, your Wild Pines Covenant group. So from our YouTubers, I am thankful for this community whose blessing reaches beyond its borders more than you may be aware. Hugs to each and every one of you. And that's from Esceptico Humanista Unitarian Universalist congregation, I believe in Puerto Rico. In Puerto Rico. All right, thank you, Pedro.
And now, in the quiet of this hour, if there's something on your own heart that you wish to mark without words, you are invited to come forward and drop a stone of reflection in the water as we hold one another in sacred community. For as William James wrote, we are like islands in the sea, separate on the surface, but connected in the deep. Let us share a moment of reflection, connecting us to all who are in need. I always get emotional at this part. Holy stillness, we sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. Speak with voices shaped by languages we did not create. Breathe free air that others died to protect. Every freedom we exercise, every opportunity we pursue, Every moment of safety we enjoy carries the fingerprints of those who came before. We remember ancestors of blood and choice, known and unknown, who endured hardships we can barely imagine, so we might inherit possibilities they could only dream. We carry forward the hopes of enslaved people who chose love over bitterness, immigrants who crossed oceans for children they would never meet, activists who planted seeds in ground too hard for them to see bloom. Their struggles live on in our bodies, their dreams in our daily choices, their unfinished work in our hands. May we honor their sacrifices not through nostalgia, but through action, not through guilt, but through gratitude that moves our feet toward justice. Help us become ancestors future generations will thank, planting trees whose shade we'll never rest in, fighting battles whose victories we won't live to see, loving this world forward with the same fierce hope that brought us here. We lift these things spoken and unspoken, written and unwritten, asking that our hearts be seen, even as we become seers of hearts, that we may serve one another and those beyond our walls with love and thankfulness today and every day. Amen, amen, amin, aho, ashe, namaste. Blessed be, and so it is.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue.
Thank you, Robert. Each week at River of Grass, to better know ourselves and our faith as Unitarian Universalists, we consider those among us who made history and those who are making history as we speak. First, we'll talk about Clara Barton, our heritage. She was born in 1821 in Oxford, Mass., into a Universalist family. She was living in Washington, D.C. when the Civil War landed at her doorstep. She began nursing wounded soldiers in her sister's home, visiting army camps, and was soon orchestrating the delivery of supplies. She began working on the front lines, delivering supplies and tending to wounded soldiers. Such were her heroic efforts that she came to be known as Angel of the Battlefield. Despite occasional bouts of illness, she continued her tireless efforts, working alongside a host of other women volunteers. One of them, Frances Gage, became a close friend. And when Barton one day expressed her deep frustration at the barriers women faced in this line of work, Gage introduced her to the women's rights movement. Barton and Gage also discussed their shared Universalist faith, which they both credited with influencing and inspiring their work. After the Civil War ended, Barton visited Europe, and she learned of the International Red Cross, a humanitarian organization which had been established by the Geneva Conventions to promote or protect victims of war. She returned home determined to start an American chapter, struggling against the prevailing political mood to advocate for this new organization. In 1881, she indeed founded the American Red Cross. Her own health was often compromised by overwork, yet she remained a passionate advocate for the agency's relief work. She persevered. She served as president of the American Red Cross until 1904, when she retired at the age of 83, and she died 8 years later in 1912. The American Red Cross's webpage describes Clara this way: Clarissa Howe Barton, known as Clara, is one of the most honored women in American history. Guided by an intense devotion to helping others, she forged a bold path of service to help those in need. As founder of the American Red Cross, Clara is considered a visionary whose humanitarian spirit helped change the world, end quote. And I might humbly add, she changed the world for the much better. May we seek to emulate Clara Barton, our Universalist foremother, in the way we live our own lives. This is our rich heritage. Our hope today is expressed by two modern representatives of our faith, our current representatives. These are two tireless campaigners for UU values, both of whom I had the great privilege to meet at GA in June, General Assembly in June. Reverend Mary Catherine Mourn, after 30 years of faith-based leadership, joined the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, the UUSC, as president and lead executive officer in 2018. Prior to joining the UUSC, Reverend Mourn had helped to grow a number of progressive congregations. She also contributed to efforts for economic, racial, and social justice in Macon, Georgia, in Nashville, Tennessee, and Fairfax, Virginia. She worked with interfaith ministries addressing hunger and homelessness, collaborated with LGBTQI+ advocacy organizations, and served on homelessness task forces. At the UUSC, she leads efforts to advance respect for human rights around the world. As you probably know, the UUSC is the successor organization to the Unitarian Service Committee, which was founded in 1940 at great risk to themselves by the Unitarian minister, Reverend Waitstill Sharp, and his wife, Martha. The Sharps coordinated humanitarian rescue efforts in Europe and saved many innocent people from near certain death at the hands of the Nazis. Since then, the UUSC has lived out a dynamic and rich history of bolstering grassroots movements for change in the United States and around the world. The UUSC was active in protecting exploited migrating workers in Texas in the 1940s, providing economic support to Central American communities in the 1980s, addressing the Rwandan genocide in the 90s, and working to stop climate change, or the impacts of climate change, in the 2000s and beyond. I saw Reverend Mourn's presentation at General Assembly and got to speak with her just so very briefly. She is dynamic and totally committed to the cause of the UUSC and its life-saving work. She's a true inspiration. I also was privileged to meet Reverend Nancy McDonald Ladd at General Assembly. She currently serves as the UUA's Director of Communications and Public Ministry. In addition to being a minister, she's a contributor to the UU World and a published author. And in fact, she is a leading voice, public voice, for our Unitarian Universalist faith. She also was previously the senior minister of the River Road Unitarian Universalist congregation in Bethesda, Maryland. At GA, she was one of the most articulate, clear-spoken advocates for the UU faith that I heard. I would love to invite her to speak at River of Grass one day. Maybe we could work on that, Kathy and Robert, as our co-chairs. The visionary leadership of these two strong, articulate, visionary women at the national level, these two women who represent Unitarian Universalism so powerfully in the world, this is our hope. So preparing for today's service, I was stuck. I will admit it, I was stuck at what might be considered the key message of the service. I had selected the theme, one that resonates deeply with me. The many parts of this service were assembled into what I hoped was a cohesive whole, but my mind was blank when it came to actually writing this message. Perhaps remaining jet lag from our recent trip, perhaps because I had listened to the previous messages from earlier this month on gratitude, and frankly, it felt like pretty much everything had been said. I resonated with Karen's comments last week on the inextricable relationship between gratitude and generosity. The origin of our formal Thanksgiving holiday that had been mentioned by Peter Fox during the worship service the week before, and the fact that President Abraham Lincoln established the holiday during the darkest days of the Civil War, knowing that even in the worst times, it's important for the human spirit to express gratitude. I related to that as well. And I do fully believe that we make ourselves healthier and happier by focusing on gratitude and by simply taking the time to focus our energy on the blessings that surround us. That had also been said. So that's probably why I was stuck. What can I add? Then a friend of mine forwarded me this Thanksgiving sermon by Reverend Scott W. Alexander, entitled Thanksgiving Sermon. And immediately when I read it, I thought, aha, problem solved. So I express my gratitude to this anonymous friend. And so I will read from his sermon. It's abbreviated because the sermon is quite long. So I took out key parts. Reverend Alexander wrote, "Take a moment to visualize the first American Thanksgiving feast, which our pilgrim forebears shared with their Native American neighbors on the shores of Massachusetts Bay in the fall of 1621. If you're like me, you imagined a pretty pleasant and peaceable scene, a rather rosy elementary school or Hallmark greeting card version, well-dressed pilgrims and proud Native Americans congenially gathered under the bright autumnal trees, sharing a large table overflowing with the plenteous fruits of the harvest, thanking their respective gods for life's copious blessings, and enjoying a carefree day of companionship. This is the myth that has grown up around Thanksgiving, the first Thanksgiving. The reality, however, was far different and far more painful. The only accurate element of the Hallmark Thanksgiving is the genuine goodwill that apparently existed between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans in that fall of 1621. The rest of the story is tragic and brutal in many ways. From the Pilgrims' perspective, the Pilgrims who landed on Cape Cod in the summer of 1620 and then settled down for the winter across the bay in Plymouth were an English religious sect fleeing persecution in their homeland. They were called separatists because they wanted to be completely separate from the official Church of England. These independent souls wanted to choose their own ministers democratically and run their own congregations. They insisted on local autonomy. Sound familiar? Just as Unitarian Universalist congregations do today. In fact, the Pilgrims' original church, the first parish in Plymouth, Massachusetts, became a Unitarian church and remains a Unitarian Universalist congregation today. And I verified that. I looked up their webpage. Says a lot of the same things that ours does. On November 20th, 1620, when the little ship Mayflower reached landfall at Cape Cod, the 100 men and women and children on board were at first disappointed to discover they were way far north of where they had intended to go, in the more temperate climate of Virginia. The next few months were to prove to be a nightmare. There was very little to eat. They developed scurvy because there were no fruits and vegetables. Almost everyone fell sick, and fully half of them died. Cold and horrible deaths before spring. The historical record clearly shows that without the help of the local Wampanoag tribe, who generously shared food with the Pilgrims that winter and showed them how to plant and cultivate the native corn, the next spring and summer, the colony would almost certainly have been wiped out totally by starvation and disease. Luckily for those 50 survivors, that first summer was generous. The harvest was good, so that by late November, as William Bradford, their governor, wrote in his journal, they were safely gathered in ere the winter storm began. And here is the part of the story that spiritually stuns me, writing as Reverend Alexander. In spite of all the hardships and horrors that they endured, in spite of what must have been nearly bottomless grief and suffering, the surviving Pilgrims decided to mark their good fortune and give thanks to both God and creation. They put on a 3-day blowout of food and festivities for themselves, and they were joined by their Native Americans, the 90 members of the Wampanoag tribe. Ponder the absolute horror of that first Plymouth winter. By spring, no family was left unmarred by the ravages of disease, despair, and death. Imagine living in cold, dirty hovels, watching half the people you know and love perish because of natural forces beyond your control. There has to have been so much suffering and sadness. It is spiritually important that we not romanticize that first American Thanksgiving as some carefree festival of reckless joy. The pilgrims seated at that first Thanksgiving table were haggard survivors, exhausted men and women, still thin and weak, wearing little more than rags. Yes, they were grateful to have endured, to be sure, but looming over whatever happy feelings they mustered must have lingered incredibly deep measures of grief and fear. So I consider it a miracle of the heart that those pilgrims could even think of giving thanks to God or celebrating life's bounty with their neighbors. No one could have really blamed them if, as the first anniversary of their arrival in America approached, they had decided to hold a service of mourning of their dead and withdrawn into sadness. What makes that first American Harvest Festival so nobly instructive is remembering the profound depths of misery which preceded the pilgrims' decision to celebrate and share. Somehow they were able to choose gratitude over bitterness, generosity over greed, thanksgiving over self-pity. I have known pilgrims. Time and time again, I have met lovely, courageous individuals who have always answered unfathomable pain and tragedy with brave and grateful resolve. Joe Russo is a pilgrim I shall never, ever forget. What he spiritually taught me about life and living is forever etched in my heart. Joe was a strapping 24-year-old who drove a bulldozer at the Memphis City dump until one day he suddenly fell down in the shower, never to walk again, because of a rare degenerative neurological disease that quickly paralyzed most of his body. By the time I met him during the year I served as a chaplain at the City of Memphis hospitals, Joe, confined to a bed for almost 2 years, could move little more than his eyes. He even required a respirator because the disease had destroyed the chest muscles that allowed him to breathe on his own. He could talk, but only by constricting the few remaining neck muscles under his control. What I didn't know when I met him was that Joe was a Thanksgiving pilgrim. His little 10 by 15-foot room was the spiritual and social center of the entire 2,000-bed hospital. By sheer force of personality and will, Joe refused to let his physical paralysis paralyze him spiritually or emotionally. He chose to live fully, vibrantly, even when life had taken so much away. Joe was a pilgrim who taught me how to love life and live. I've been fortunate, too, to know other pilgrims, good and brave souls who refuse to let life's painful deprivations rob them of life and joy, community and purpose. Those who come first to mind are the many I've met through my decade of work with the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Courageous folks who once, while living with a virtual death sentence, chose to keep on giving, caring, celebrating, and living. Viktor Frankl, another pilgrim who survived Auschwitz during the Holocaust and said, "The experiences of death camp show that one does have a choice of action. One can preserve a vestige of spiritual freedom, of independence of mind, even in such terrible conditions of psychic and physical stress. Everything can be taken from us, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. It is this spiritual freedom, which cannot be taken away, that makes life meaningful and purposeful." So, Reverend Alexander concludes, this Thanksgiving, remember those brave survivors at Plymouth who, enveloped in sorrow and grief, laid out a generous feast of gratitude. Remember Joe Russo. Remember all those who live with HIV and chronic disease. Remember all those brave and beautiful souls you have known who have refused to let a life's inevitable adversity or pain rob them of purpose and joy, or who have survived, as Viktor Frankl did, the most horrific of abuses. And lastly, dear friends, remember that beneath your very real griefs and losses, life's holy heartbeat can still be heard. No matter what has been taken from you, there is still life to be vibrantly, bravely, purposefully lived. There is always, always joy to be discovered, beauty to be seen, laughter to be heard, service to be accomplished, satisfaction to be found, love to be shared. For these imperfect possibilities, for this tenuous gift, this Thanksgiving, let your heart whisper with Carl Sandburg. Call hallelujah. Call amen. Call deep thanks. Amen. I'm not done. That was his ending. I just have a little footnote to add. And this is speaking once again for myself. To tell this simple story of the meal that took place in 1621 in no way sanitizes the bloody conflicts that ensued over the next 2 centuries between European settlers and the Native American tribes and the resulting genocide of the Native American population. It is a historical reality that the meal took place, according to William Bradford's contemporaneous journal, but historians question some of the details. I would hope that the Pilgrims expressed gratitude not only to God, but to their Wampanoag neighbors for their survival. I can easily imagine perhaps they did not. We do not know. And we do know that within a generation, the English settlers and the Wampanoag were at war. For many Native people in our time, the day we call Thanksgiving has become a day of mourning, for they remember the hundreds of years of losses suffered by their people. We cannot and should not ignore that history. In fact, we must study it, and there are resources online that recommend what we can do to learn more, to appreciate the culture of the Native American tribes and how they also incorporated worship and gratitude into their lives. While Reverend Alexander focused on the suffering of the Pilgrims, equally compelling tales have been told of the suffering of the Native Americans. But the essential human lesson of expressing gratitude even in the most arduous and difficult circumstances holds true, I believe, and perhaps offers some nuance to our own history. Reverend Alexander's recounting of Joe Russo reminded me that we had our own Thanksgiving pilgrim here at River of Grass in the indomitable spirit of our dear Sean Giblin, a beautiful young man who was struck with an aggressive form of multiple sclerosis at the age of 18, but never let it define him. He lived his life with generosity, helping others, and with joy. And though we lost Sean nearly 2 years ago at the heartbreakingly young age of 34, his memory will forever be a blessing and an inspiration to all of us who knew and loved him. I feel deep gratitude every day for the blessings in my life. As the kids said, my friends, my family, my sense of purpose, my 40 years of UU faith, and for the last 26 years being part of this amazing community at River of Grass. And there is one more thing. I'm also deeply grateful for that primordial sense of awe and joy and wonder I feel when the sun shines on my shoulders and I see the stars in the sky. The awe and wonder and deep joy of simply being alive on this beautiful planet in this unfathomably extensive universe. These are challenging times, no doubt, but just as courage is contagious, so is gratitude. Just as reaching out in love and building community are acts of resistance, so is expressing gratitude. So this Thanksgiving, let's all freely express and freely feel our gratitude for life itself. Let us all be together in gratitude. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. I love you. And now I'm done. Thank goodness. Our closing words today are entitled Gratitude Feast Blessing. They're from the Peasantry School. And loan to, I guess we can call it, our soul, what do we call it? Soul Matters curriculum. But my mind went blank. For the dark soil that cradles the seed, for the rains that bring forth the green leaves, for the stars that give form to the flowers, for the warm sun that ripens the fruit, for the animals whose lives allow ours, for the hunger that brings us together, for the kind folks gathered around the table, for the fabric we weave with these words, for all this goodness and mercy, we give thanks. And now our closing hymn is one of our favorites, one that makes me choke up every time we sing it. That sense of awe and wonder and gratitude for being alive. Please rise as you are able to sing Blue Boat Home.
Below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, standing on these mountains and plains, I over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, the making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, breathe the infinite sea before me, singing sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Oh my God, what a beautiful song. Would you like to extinguish the flame? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of compassion, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I know I've been present for a moving service when I have some, tears starting to form. So I'm thankful for being able to be present in a space like this with all of you. At River of Grass, we offer many ways to live our Unitarian Universalist faith in action. You'll find them in our weekly email, our Facebook page, and our website, riverofgrassuu.org. Here are some upcoming opportunities to fulfill the mission and the vision of this congregation and other announcements for the life of this beloved community. It's that time of year again. We have taken on 50 kids again this year. We are collecting toys and gift cards to distribute to the fostered children and youth in Broward and Palm Beach counties. Let's help the children and youth that have been neglected, abused, and abandoned experience the magic of this holiday season. All gifts and gift cards must be new and unwrapped. Bring the gifts tagged with the number of the child you chose right here on Sundays, December 7th or 14th, and they will be delivered to Maralisa. A spreadsheet with the list of children and their holiday wishes will be emailed to you Monday, or call 954-854-1039 for more information. The River of Grass Cafe presents Celebrating the Holidays with the Jorge Garcia Group, featuring holiday music from a future CD with music from Crossover and AMP, Still Crossing, The concert will be held here in A9. Come launch the season with this great music, food, drinks on December 14th, 7 to 9 p.m. The link to purchase tickets will be emailed to you on Monday, or see Ken Bresnahan. Our annual Thanksgiving potluck will be held on Thanksgiving Day, November 27th, right here at the river at 1 p.m. Bring your friends and family. Bring a dish to share and your own tableware. Please arrive early and help with the setup if possible. See Kathy Jens Rockow for info. Sign-up sheet is in the hallway, or RSVP to Kathy. The auction for fixed price parties and events will be held December 7th and 14th. Mark your calendar to come to River of Grass A9 and sign up for all the parties and all the events that you want to attend. Sign up will be before and after service. More information will be sent out soon. Ellie Keene can be reached at elliekeene@prodigy.net. There she is. Protests continue each Sunday from 4 to 5 to shut down Alligator Alcatraz. When we have a group to carpool, we will meet here at 2:15 and then depart by 2:30. You can see me, Andy Bunce, or Susan Scotch-Bejarano for carpooling details. After our service today, we're having the second of a tradition of board talkbacks. So after our board meeting, we give you a little insight into what was discussed, gives you a way to know a little bit more about what's going on in our beloved community. Lastly, we have birthday cupcakes for Steve. Woohoo! Please wish him a happy birthday and enjoy your cupcakes in hospitality.
I don't know. Shall we sing?
Yes.
Let's sing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Steve. Happy birthday to you.
And many more. May we go forth from this place thankful for the life that sustains and renews us, open to the grace that surrounds and surprises us. May we go forth from this place with openness and with thanksgiving. Until we meet again, shine on. Please join us for hospitality. And if you'd like to come to the board talkback, we'll begin in about 10-15 minutes. Bring your coffee. We'll just sit in a circle.